Hello, it's Jade. Welcome to an Access Show. Today we're taking a look at all the information about CoffeeStain Studios' Satisfactory. It's coming soon, guys. Judging by what they've been saying and their live streams, I think this game is going to be released very soon in early access. But what is Satisfactory? Well, it's a factory game. The whole purpose, the whole goal is to build up your factory, gather lots of resources and create weird and wonderful sort of systems. If you've ever played some of the Factorio games on PC, this is pretty much that, but in 3D. You can actually run around. It's made by the same people that made the Goat Simulator games, and they were hella fun to muck around with. They made a bunch of DLC for them as well. And more importantly, they released it on Xbox and PS4. So while it may be a long way off and maybe it might not actually come to console, I think this has got a really good chance of appearing in the future. But not for a long time. Let's get early access out of the way first. It is a co-op game. You will be able to play it with other people, or you can play it on your own. There is going to be some story elements to it. There is going to be some directions and guidance, but it's not going to be some sort of PvP game as far as I'm aware. What you are doing is protecting your factories from the wildlife and the creatures that inhabit the world. Now the world is custom built, so the artists have made it completely up from scratch. They've put it all there, it's not generated or anything like that. And basically you can make these huge systems and it looks absolutely fantastic. Like, I am desperate to get hold of this and give it a go. There are vehicles in the game, as you can see, although I think they've gone through a significant redesign, again judging by what I've been following. I've pretty much been stalking the developers and the social media managers for a while now, covering and catching all their streams, but I haven't done any videos because I wanted to make sure we got a full release date or we knew something was actually happening. So, I said it's a factory game, but what does a factory game really mean? Well, Factorio is probably one of the best known examples. As you can see here, it's a top down, it's a simulation game where you build and craft and make just a bunch of items, ways to gather and harvest resources so that you can keep making all these types of ores. I guess you then sell it. I've never played Factorio, but I have just got a real hankering for this type of game, and you can see it's a bit bonkers. So obviously Satisfactory is taking on, and they've said that it's pretty much their biggest inspiration. What could they do with a 3D version of Factorio? I'm really excited by this. So what are we doing now, looking at a Roblox tycoon game? Well, in a way, this is what Satisfactory also maybe took some inspiration from as well. I think particularly there are a lot of young kids out there that like these type of games. My kids liked them. I even done a playlist of Roblox videos because they liked them, and that's pretty much, I think, some inspiration too. Obviously much more advanced and much better, but this will go down really well with people that maybe grew up on some of these games who are a little bit older now, maybe looking for something a little bit more complicated. So I told you guys it was developers behind the Goat Simulator series, and the Goat Simulator series is fantastic for just a bit of mindless fun, silliness, craziness. They've released a bunch of DLC, including this space one. They've also released sort of satirical looks at DayZ as well, and I just really like the idea of going around mucking about with your goat. Of course, that is going to be a very different game to Satisfactory, but there's a lot of physics engines. It's definitely the place where they maybe learn a lot developing these games, and they're going to be putting all that goodness now into Satisfactory. So the community manager has live streamed some alpha gameplay, or pre-alpha gameplay of course, way back 7 months ago. So I think these vehicles have changed since then. I think I've caught that they've upgraded them or they've done some significant design changes, but the idea is that you can upgrade and get better vehicles or vehicles suited for the job. So you'll be using these vehicles to go around and gather, harvest resources, and you can set paths for them. The idea is that it's not just a case of you just driving, you can actually record paths. So you could literally make that big massive truck there go from one spot to another continuously, and it'll just keep refilling certain materials and delivering them to somewhere else. And I really like that idea. There is some danger. It's not just a very harmless game. The creatures that you saw from the trailer, they're obviously going to be in the game as well. They'll be attacking you when you're going to get certain resources out in the wild. And I do believe, unless anything's changed, there is going to be situations where some of these creatures may start coming and attacking your factory. So it gives it a little bit of danger. It's not just a simulation game where nothing really exciting happens. It is going to be a case of you having to build and manage your factory really well and make sure that it's not getting destroyed by other aliens. But I really like the way they control these. I really like the look of it. I think the graphics are amazing. They're using the Unreal Engine and they are going to be exclusive on Epic Game Store. Now this did cause a little bit of confusion and a bit of a back blow, but lots of games since then have also gone over to the Epic Game Store. It's just one of them things. I think it's beneficial for games developers if they can secure funding. Nothing is guaranteed. There's no guarantee that if they launch this on Steam, they would get hundreds of thousands of dollars, people would actually buy the game. But by going exclusive with Epic for a period of time, then that at least gives them a big chunk of money to carry on going, and then it'll also hopefully mean they can carry on making sales. It will, I reckon, come to Steam, but they haven't said that definitely, but the exclusivity is for 1 year on the Epic Game Store. So hopefully by the time that year is up, it could come to the Xbox, the PS4 and Steam. That may be a clincher for some. I have spoken a lot that I really think people overreact. It's not really like you have to go and spend hundreds of dollars on another console. When we talk about store launches, there's so many like Origins, Uplay. There's just loads and loads of companies that all want you to buy their games from their store. And Epic is just kind of muscling in on that. The fact that more games are being made with the Unreal Engine, which Epic own, I think it also makes sense. You know, if you're making the engine for these games, why would you not want to help them sell more? The developers also get more money from every sale than they would on Steam, and I think it's really beneficial for smaller game companies to do this. Maybe when it's a big established game company, sometimes you can think it's a bit cynical, but for smaller independent games developers, it's definitely needed to secure funding so that, you know, they can carry on making games and updating the stuff they've already made. So I'm really pleased about this. I think it's going to work well. I can't wait to get my hands and try some of these vehicles and see how it all plays out. So Jade's community manager has live streamed over the last few months, showing more and more bits from the pre-alpha. This aspect is the conveyor belts. It's lots of the engines and the processors, and basically how you can build your network. And I really love the idea of this, coming up with space saving or energy saving ideas. You're gonna have to think about the space of the land. And I think the game looks amazing. It looks really high fidelity. The structures look great, the machinery looks really cool, it's really sharp and enhanced, particularly the lighting on it as well, really making use of that Unreal Engine, because it is a fantastic looking way to make your games look great. Unreal Engine is definitely one of the better engines for making games look absolutely amazing. Doesn't always run as well sometimes, and I do worry how this will work if you start building huge mega factories, but I think that's why they've limited it just to co-op. It won't be a multiplayer situation where you could have maybe hundreds, although they have not ruled out the fact that you might be able to rent your own server, and it would be up to you if you want to increase how many players would be able to go onto it. So that could be something that happens in the future. You may be able to host your own one if you don't want to rent your own server, and you may be able to get more than 4 or 5 players on it. That's just something that's going to come within time, and see how much performance and optimization gets done on the game to allow that sort of thing. Epic Store is going to support modding in future, and it'll be pretty much just how it is now. You build your mods and you'll be able to upload it to the game directly, I do believe. Obviously that might come a little bit later, but that's their plan. They will have mods. There is no terraforming, so you're not going to necessarily be able to dig out massive holes. While you can dig into the ground with some of the machinery, you won't necessarily be landscaping all around you. There is going to be story in endgame. Like I said, there are some story elements. There's going to be a reason why you're here, and maybe it's just a case of some corporate megalomaniac wants you to make as much money as possible, and then you've got to desperately try and fill quotas. Who knows what it is, but I like that idea too. There is third person as well as first person, so if you really don't like first person, you can play the game in third person too. And there is going to be caves, so there's going to be lots of different areas to explore. There's loads of places in the trade that look pretty cool. The map is obviously still being built, and it might only be a small portion we get to explore at the moment, or I do believe you can go anywhere, but lots of the map might not necessarily be ready. That'll expand over time. It is going to be coming soon, blatantly, just because they've been saying in a live stream recently that it's going to be coming closer than we think. There's also a few other clues. The community manager's been having a bit of fun with his Simon saga. Literally every 2 weeks they've been dishing out alpha keys. So people have had a chance to play this already. In fact, they've given over, I think, a good few thousand keys out now. So there are lots of people already testing this, and I think that's also good. The stability of the game means that it's had more people try it out. give feedback about bugs and problems and issues, and hopefully that means that when it comes to early access, it will be a better product for it. Of course, early access is meant to be for that. You're meant to discover these sort of things and work them out, but it'd be nice that they've had really good amount of people test it in alpha. So they've been handing out these keys every 2 weeks. He's been making jokes of it on YouTube videos, and basically he's put up one recently saying it's the penultimate episode. So penultimate means the one from last, so there'll only be one more episode of giving out alpha keys, and I'm guessing that means the game will be coming very soon. That's just a little bit of detective work by me, and just some few other bits and bobs as well. I really do think this game's going to be coming out very soon, early access. So I can't wait. I'm definitely going to get hold of a key if I can. I'm going to just absolutely stalk the developers and the community managers as much as possible, because I really like the look at this. It's been a while since I've been excited about something. Like, there's games that have been disappointing to me. Fallout 76. Anthem has been a little bit disappointing. There's a bunch of other games that I've tried in the past. Atlas was just a bit meh. There's so many games, and I think I need something new and fresh. I don't want another survival game explicitly. I don't want a looter shooter. I want something where I can create. I love simulation games. I just don't have a chance to put them on my channel because they don't generally get many views. But I'm going to do my best with this. I'm going to show you guys all the intricacies of the machinery. I'm going to show you how it all works, because I like the idea of learning this stuff, and that's what I really loved about covering Ark when I first did Ark. I was learning and I wanted to show people what I'd learned, and I think this has got good possibilities for that, and I like the idea of building really complicated structures. This next video is what people have been building. These are the alpha testers. They were allowed to record some footage, and coffeestain basically just came and recorded it or showed it off on their worlds, and these are the kinds of things you'll be actually doing and making. Alpha is not a scam. I don't know why anyone really thought that, but you can see all the energy couplings. Them wires are there keeping it all good with electricity and keeping it all powered. There's all sorts of different ways it goes through splitters, and then it gets made into other resources, and then it's just a really cool idea. I think maybe I should probably try and pick up Factorio and give it a go, but look at that, look at the size of that. That is a massive structure. So the creativity is definitely there, you know, for building something a little bit unusual, maybe bigger, go big, go home. I think Satisfactory is going to give that little bit to people that really love this sort of stuff. I used to love Minecraft, and I still do, and creative games like these where you can do and build stuff, I think is amazing as well. Look at that, you actually got proper big factories you can build as well. It's not all just out in the open. I really like the idea of this. I really like the idea of being creative, finding solutions. You've got to think about space saving, you've got to think about energy, and that's the kind of thing that's going to get you enjoyment from this game. Not just simply plonking loads of machinery down. It's about how efficient you can get it running, and what is the end result. Are you getting as much yield as you possibly can? So I'm really excited about Satisfactory. It's my first full video on it on its own, not just included in a list video or a news video. So I hope you guys are going to be hyped for me when I actually start showing you exactly what Satisfactory is all about. Stay tuned. As soon as I get any news about the early access coming out, I'll let you guys know, and let me know your thoughts. Have you played any of the Factorio games, or even the Roblox Tycoon games? Does this appeal to you, the next sort of generation? Leave it in the comment section, and I will see you, rat bags, very soon. Bye bye.